Mish Mini Reviews!
Hey, today we're doing something a little different. I recently got my hands on another stationforge product in the form of Grimguard Sisters of War. They're Krieg ladies, what more can you ask for? And I ended up painting these gals, but I didn't get all of them done, so I figured for the most part I'd show you what I did get done, as well as a little review of the miniatures overall. I picked up this badge from Mad Max Minis, check them out on Etsy. Great place to get miniatures if you don't have a printer yourself, and they're all in 8K. There's a link in the description for both stationforge and Mad Max Minis. Check them out if you want, and let's get into the review. So when I received the miniatures, they came in these little plastic baggies. This is from Mad Max Minis, of course. And we have a lot of options here. There's a lot of heads, a lot of bodies. There are several options for different weapons, and I really appreciate that all the weapons are kind of their own style. Undoubtedly, these are designs based on the original products from Warhammer 40k. You and I can pretty easily pick out which one of these are supposed to be plasma guns, melta-guns, hellbores. But what I like better about these is that they're very slimmed down for a human-sized weapon. That isn't to say that I disapprove of the over-the-top gigantic weapons that a lot of Astra Militarum miniatures have. Plus, I really like that a lot of these weapons are all wood furniture. Something about a wood furniture flamer just rubs me the right way. So, like usual with all 3D printed miniatures, I'm using plastic glue. Now the bases, I'm not entirely sure if they're stationforge or this is Mad Max Mini's personal bases, but they don't exactly fit for all the ladies. Some of it is a little over the top, but I actually kind of like these. I like that they're more inundated. I like that it's concave, if you will. I'd also say a good idea is to sand down the boots. They're very detailed and actually have boot prints, which is very impressive. But they don't really adhere well to bases, and yeah, I just sand them down. Each come with a very dynamic pose. Some of them have heads that are pre-built into the STL, which kind of removes a little bit of the creativity and customization. I do like the head that comes with this body in particular, but, I like to have a little bit more freedom. Speaking of freedom, however, I do like that these are modular with other stationforge miniatures. Essentially, all stationforge guard miniatures have the same backpack type. That way I can use this frost guard backpack for my comms officer. If only I didn't drop it and break the antenna. Now, of course you can run these as proxies, so long as you're not in a GW store. But the reason I got them is I wanted to run a kill team. Only problem is it doesn't exactly have the same options as the base Krieg kit. It doesn't have all the weapons, doesn't have all the bits. So if you want to run a Krieg kill team with all the original options and specialists, a little bit of kit bashing is necessary. And that's kind of what I did. I haven't purchased the Veteran Guard kill team kit, and I don't exactly want to, being that I have these ladies. So what I ended up doing is actually just trimming off some of the blooded kill team bits that I had left over, and voila, easy peasy. With the entire kit, you get 10 operatives. Mad Max is nice enough to provide me a couple more, as their guarantee of a free mystery model is included with every order. And these are a lot of spare bits. That's a lot of spare bits. So like I stated previously, I did a little painting for these ladies. I didn't get them all done, so expect a part 2, but I think you'll like this color scheme. I actually did 2 for this video. And like always, here's the list of paints that I used. Expect this to be a much more brief tutorial as opposed to the very in-depth things that I usually do. Like the blooded kill team painting tutorial, I mixed a little bit of speed painting along with more complex methods. So after a Zenithal Prime, I'm going to be applying a base coat of Imperial Fist 3:1 with sepia ink. You might notice that lately a lot of my Zenithal Primes have been very rough. I'm kind of enjoying this new style of Zenithal priming. By no means do I dislike a very smooth transition when it comes to Zenithal priming, but I really like how this looks in terms of a gritty style. Also, I noticed some of you in the comments liked it too, so I figured I'd do it again. So after getting every nook and cranny on the trench coat, you should be left with something like this. And at this point, we'd be adding on a little Militarum green to the trousers. Did I really just say trousers? Jesus. For my specialists, I decided to use a red color, and for this I'm using Blood Red from Army Painter. This color runs very freely. It was a little bit more free-flowing than I was expecting, but other than that, I really like how it looks. For the specialist trousers, I'd end up using a mixture of Tyrian navy mixed with a little bit of black ink. I really like this color. For all the armored bits, I'm using dark silver. I'll be applying this to the helmet, the pauldrons, the belt buckle, and the little straps on the suspenders. I don't really paint it in this shot, but you'll see later on. And I'm doing this for both the specialists and the regular grunts. For all their boots, I'm using a mixture of 1 to 2 black ink snakebite leather. I like how this looks. It applies very nicely. For all the bands and straps, I'm using a 1-to-1 mixture of light tone and strong tone from Army Painter. You can probably tell that I took a lot of inspiration from my Blooded Kill team. I find that these paints are very fitting for humanoid-based kill teams with several members. I think it's very easy to get a lot of them done and make them look great. I then decided to go over all the leather areas, including gloves, leather straps, backpacks, using dark ivory. This gives us a good base coat for a leather color, and for this I'm using snakebite leather. Normally we'd try to avoid cleanup when it comes to a speed painting thing, but it's kind of impossible when the trench coat is basically the biggest part of this miniature. Thankfully, dark ivory is one of the nicer light colors that I have. It applies very smoothly and it doesn't leave any paint crumbs. Like I mentioned previously, I'm using snakebite leather on all the leather areas. I really like how this color applies. I then decided to paint the face using Gilliman Flesh. I used an undertone layer of red tone from Army Painter, and I really like how this looks. If you're familiar with my stuff, you know that I use a lot of Army Painter's flesh tones, but I've never used Gilliman Flesh before, and this first impression is really nice. Around this time, I decided to pick out more areas using the dark silver. I used it on the belt buckles, some of the guns. For all the wooden furniture on the weapons, I'm using wildwood. For the main wash, I'm using Oblivion Blackwash 2-to-1 to sepia ink. Again, this is very akin to my Blooded Kill Team painting video, but I ended up mixing up the color a little bit, and I really like how it applies over this yellow. We'll also be doing this over the specialists as well. For all the gas masks, I'm using pure sepia ink. This on its own is a really strong color, and I think using more of Vallejo's inks is always a good idea. I like how faint this is over the Zenithal Prime. For all the gas mask tubes, I decided to paint it using a little bit more dark silver. This will be acting as an undertone. So the gun casings on the las guns for these ladies are very small. So for this example, I'm using one of the hellbores that I used for my blooded kill team. And for the gun casing, I'm using Militarum Green. For all the Aquila patterns on the helmets, I'm using a little bit of bronze mixed with light bronze. I'm applying this both to the grunts and the specialists. For all of the tubes on the gas mask, I'm applying a thick layer of Black Templar. You could do Black Legion, but I like the faintness of Black Templar better. I'd also apply this into the eye sockets, though I didn't do this on camera, I did this afterwards. For all the armor, I'm using Pure Oblivion Blackwash. This will leave us with a really, really cool dull tone. You could easily leave it like this and it would look great, but I decided to go a little further and I dry brushed on some silver from Pro Acryl. I wanted this to be very scratchy, and I probably would have used a different silver, but I wanted to use more Pro Acryl on Pro Acryl. I'd also take a detail brush and paint on some very thin scratches. I would also apply this to all the rivets, just make them stand out a little bit more, but for the most part, I would just pick out these areas. This is probably the most detail I go into in the entire video, but I really like how it looks. I find that sharp-angled helmets like this are a very good way of practicing. I'd also use this color to end up highlighting any sort of area that has this metallic color, a little bit on the belt buckles, and on the bits on the gas mask, just to make it stand out a little bit more. And as a final highlight to finish these ladies off, I'm using a little bit of light bronze on the little pendant. I'd end up making mud bases, and for that I made a short, so if you want to check that out, go ahead. But I was left with some really, really good looking minis, and here's the grand reveal. I really enjoyed painting these minis. The sheer amount of detail lends itself well to speed painting. I really don't have to do a lot of effort and they look amazing. Like I stated previously, there's plenty of ladies that I didn't get done, so expect a part 2. I actually did a tertiary color scheme for the leaders. So you can expect that soon, and I got some cool stuff cooking up for you guys. Like I mentioned in my community section, I'm going to be doing a little bit more lore, so expect more content more frequently on the channel. As you can tell from the opening, I'm trying to form a little bit more of a serialization of my videos, so expect more jointed content. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. It really helps the channel out. Also, I'm opening the Mishmash Discord to the public. Check it out if you want to. I'll be in there once in a while. We can hang out, do shit, whatever. Talk about the hobby. But yeah, that's enough announcements from me. I'm gonna stop flapping my beak. And don't forget to Mishmash, Kit Bash, and paint some fantastic miniatures. And you're gonna. I promise. See ya.